Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to jump on and just give you a quick video of how I'm using my Hobonichi Weeks notes pages. So here are the items that I'm using. I'm going to go ahead and flip to the back so you can see how I've used each of these items, and I'll explain what they are and what I've done. So here is what my planner looks like for the month of August. This is the notes section of the Hobonichi Weeks. Now before I go into more explanation on this, let me just explain the weeks if you're not familiar with it. At the beginning, the front of the weeks, there is a yearly calendar where you can see kind of the current year, the previous year, the future year. There's also this yearly tracker, which I don't ever actually use. Then you have the month on 2 pages. You have 1 month from the previous year, then all 12 months of the current year, plus you have the additional 1, 2, 3 months of the future year, so that way you can do some forward planning. Then you get into the weeks, and the weeks basically, let me show you what a clean page looks like. The weeks is basically a horizontal format, Monday through Sunday, with all of the kind of dates on the left side, and it's technically blank, although you can see the grid through the paper because the Tombow Markers paper is quite thin. And then on the right side, you just have a plain page of grid notes or grid line paper. And there are some slightly darker lines to create divisions on this page, but it's basically just plain grid. And so you can really kind of be creative and do a lot of different stuff with this. This is what I'm using currently to do my everyday planning. I'm playing around with the layouts. I'll leave a link to a couple of videos showing the different styles of layouts that I've been using, so you can see how I'm kind of playing around and trying to figure out my best planning style for the weeks. But let's talk about this. Previously for the notes, so the notes are in this Hobonichi, the regular Hobonichi Weeks, 68 pages, that's front and back of just plain grid paper. And I had just been using this to create notes and random lists and collections, kind of like a bullet journal, but it was really haphazard and random. But then I had been watching a lot of bullet journal videos, especially where the YouTubers have been like super creative in creating these themes where they plan out and draw and create these layouts for the entire month that all follow around this theme each month, and they just look really beautiful. And I can see this is an area where you can be a lot more creative, and you can be colorful and also really tailor it to your needs. I actually started out in the bullet journal community. Like, the bullet journaling is where I started when I got into the planner community and started really planning. Listing has always been my thing, and I did kind of experiment with a little bit of the drawing element when I was bullet journaling, but I really kind of gravitated a little bit more towards stickers, which is why I went towards the Erin Condren and the Hobonichi. But I see these videos and I'm always so like, I want to do that, but I have this Hobonichi Weeks and I don't want to just buy an A5 or buy a B6 notebook to create a bullet journal and then like not have anything to put in it, because actually I've already done that. I have an A5 Leuchtturm notebook, and I have a Stalogy B6 notebook, and I've tried using them and they're just not as effective as the Hobonichi Weeks or the Erin Condren for memory planning, or memory keeping. So I was thinking, what if I just do my kind of pretty creative bullet journaling in the Hobonichi Weeks in the back of the notes pages? Like, you know, what an amazing thought. Like, I just never really considered it. And so I was thinking, I think if you divide the pages out, it comes to about 5 pages front and back for each of the 12 months, so you can get a whole year in. I know one of the fears is always like, am I going to run out of pages? And then Hobonichi came out with the Weeks Mega, which has like 3 times the amount of note pages in the back of the book. And to me, that seems excessive, at least for me, because I know I will not take that many notes. So the regular weeks, is perfect for me. But I'm always still a little bit hesitant and fearful that I might run out of notes pages. And then I was thinking, oh yeah, Hobonichi also makes these like small little like sewn notebooks that are about the same size as each of their planners. And I know for the weeks, I think it's a tiny bit smaller so it can fit into the cover on cover or the cover setup. But I know that I'm pretty sure that they come in packs of 3, and I'm pretty sure that they also use the Tomoe River paper, and they're also perforated so you can tear them out. And then I was thinking I could put them into the Hobonichi weeks and then use like a washi tape to tape that page into the week so it doesn't fall out, and just create a tip-in. A tip-in is basically when you're taping a page in or taping something in, and then you can like fold it out and it's still attached to the paper. It's a lot easier to show, but I just don't have anything on me to create a tip-in right now. Anyway, so I was thinking I could do that, and then that would probably give me any extra pages that I needed if I had to take notes, or if there was like something really important for the entire year that I wanted to keep a list of and make sure it was in my weeks. So I'm thinking that's what I'm going to do for next year, but I'm not completely sure yet, which is why I'm doing this. This is just an experiment. So far, I really like it, but again, for November and December, I'm probably going to tweak it a little bit. I might make some changes, especially in kind of the layout and the order of things, and we'll see by January what I decide to do. And you know, as you know, planning, you're constantly kind of changing and adjusting to your needs at that moment, right? All right, so enough of me kind of yammering on all about this. Here is kind of my like introduction, welcome to October. So I just drew this pumpkin. I just kind of free-handed what I thought a pumpkin looks like, and I think it was fairly successful, other than these tendrils are a little bit kind of everywhere. And then I just wrote out the month of October and then used some washi tape here on the top. I'll go through all of the items that I used and where they came from, or the brands, afterwards. Then on the next 2 pages, I have a bunch of different challenges, because one of the things I wanted to use this note section for was to write down monthly challenges that would kind of push me to be a little bit more creative. So I follow Cindy, who is Llama Loves Lettering on YouTube, and she also has a Facebook group as well, which I think is Llama Loves Lettering. And she, on YouTube, Instagram, and in her Facebook group, does lettering, like hand lettering. And each month she sets us up with a challenge of words to hand letter. This month, for the month of October, is all kind of Halloween scary movies. She also sets up a rando doodles challenge. So basically she's challenging you to kind of draw, you know, you can be as detailed or as simplistic as you would like to be, but just to do a little drawing every day. This month for October, she's doing Disney villains. And then I pulled from Boho Berry. She's on YouTube and also on Instagram as well. And I think she also has a Facebook group, but I'm pretty sure I'm not in that. Anyway, I pulled this from Instagram. I know she does kind of a journaling challenge, and so I wrote down the challenge prompts for that as well. I have actually only done a few of these, but I was thinking if I have the time and I'm feeling inclined, here I have very quickly the resources and the information, so I can just go and use my A6 version of my book to the A6 version of my Hobonichi to actually do the hand lettering or create the drawing or journal to take up some empty space that I have in my book. So I have all of that here that I wrote out. And then I just kind of added in a little bit more of these like vine leaves, the little pumpkin, and then more of the washi. I also wanted to track social media, so Instagram and YouTube. YouTube, I'm just kind of keeping track of what videos I'm uploading as well as how many subscribers I have. And then Instagram, how many posts I'm doing each week, because I'm trying to get better at being more active in social media. So, and right now Instagram and YouTube are the only two things that I'm really kind of tracking and that I'm consistently on. The next two pages are all kind of based on like my reading, and I think for most months it would probably only be one page, but because there's a couple of different readathons going on this month, I went ahead and wrote down what the challenges were, if there were any Instagram challenges, and then I also planned out what books would actually correspond to the challenges I'm doing. So here I had my initial TBR list, and then I realized there's two readathons this month that I did want to participate in. So I wrote down the challenges for the first readathon, the challenges for the second readathon, and then here I have the books that I'm actually going to read for that week. I added a little bit more washi and a little bit more decoration. That's where the month ends. I don't think I'm going to add anything else for the month of October, but we'll see how this works out for me. So what did I actually use in my planner? So first of all, for the kind of the drawing aspects where there was also color involved, I used the Pigma Micron, and I used the 01 tip, which is a really super fine tip. Like I said, I am a big fan of very fine tips. I just like how neat they look. And then also in the Hobonichi weeks, I find that it dries a little bit faster. For me personally, I'd rather have it dry faster with a thinner tip than a thicker tip. I have worked briefly with fountain pens. I only have one fountain pen, but I did write in a Hobonichi with it. And while I liked the way it looked, it took a little bit too long to dry, and I just end up smudging things. So I used the Pigma Micron to draw out the pumpkin. I did sketch it out in just regular pencil lead first. Then I drew the, kind of traced the outline and then erased it. And then for the color, I'm using the Tombow Markers. These are the dual-ended brush markers, I think is what they're called. So here's what they look like. I mean, you're probably fairly familiar with it. So it has the brush tip on one end, and then it has the kind of bullet tip on the other end. This one is in 933. That was the kind of orangey pumpkin color. The green vine color I used is 192. And then I did use a little bit of brown in the stem of this pumpkin, but I didn't really use it anywhere else. It's a very light kind of tannish brown, and it's 992. So those are the three Tombow markers that I used. And then for writing in just all this regular stuff, I used the Pilot G-Tech C3 in the 0.3 tip, and that's just the same pen that I've been using recently to do all of my write down all my daily tasks. And then the very last thing that I used was the Simply Gilded washi, and I used the 15 millimeter and the 10 millimeter, and this is in the color, I think it's in the color Cocoa. It's from the fall pre-sale that happened back in, I think it was June or July, was the fall pre-sale. There was an unlimited amount that you could purchase for 1 week, but you did have to purchase it back in like June or July, knowing that it wouldn't arrive until end of September into October. So I think I got this at the end of September. I do really like how this turned out. Here's the 10 millimeter, and it's just kind of like a warm chocolate brown, medium chocolate brown with kind of a champagne gold foil. And then here is the 15 millimeter, so it has the thicker bow. So that's everything that I used for this layout. So like I said, I'm super excited about how this looks. Like, to me, this is just enough of that like color and bullet journaling style without like having to go out and buy a whole nother notebook, or in my case, go back to using a completely different notebook when I'm already carrying this around every day. I'd like to know your thoughts. How do you use the note pages in your weeks if you have one? Or if you don't have a weeks but you're thinking of getting one, how do you think you might use the notes pages in your weeks? I'm curious to know your thoughts and what you use them for. So thank you so much for watching and supporting my channel. Please like and subscribe for more planner and Hobonichi related videos, and I will see you in the next video and talk to you in the comments. Bye!